Hello, dear friends of pleasure. The G-spot, also known as the G-zone, G-sport, or simply as the female erogenous zone, Dr. Ernst Grafenberg gave it its name, and since then it has been surrounded by myths. So it is really one of the most difficult tasks that the male world has to deal with. Is it really so in 2001 or not? Let's get to the point of the matter in the truest sense of the word. My name is Antje. I am your sixth senses coach, and I help you with pleasure and frustration in your love life. In this video, I want to give you tips and tricks on how to best find the G-spot, how to stimulate it, where it is, and what it actually feels like. And I truly want to help you take your love life to a significantly new level, for nothing is better during sex than knowing your partner's erogenous zones. And once you know them, you can stimulate them much more easily. First, the G-spot is not a point, but rather an area. It can even be a whole region, but it doesn't have to be. And you can find this out. So, how does this G area feel? So the surface can be smooth, ridged, spongy. It can be textured, crinkled. It can feel like a raspberry, and it can be tangible. Sometimes, however, these zones can have a different texture than the surrounding area, which can be felt with the fingers. In some cases, the area is harder than the surrounding tissue, similar to a soft bean beneath the surface. In others, the area is softer, meaning a spot on the inner side that gives more. It can also feel like the spot on the palate when you touch it with your tongue. Behind the teeth, where the transition to the gums is, there is also a ribbed area. It could feel something like that, for example. So, there are very different views, very different experiences, and it is said to be the size of a $2 coin. If you are wondering why you can't find anything during this adventure tour with your partner, I can reassure you, for G-zones can also awaken, but only when the woman is already very aroused. G-zones can suddenly appear out of nowhere, swell, change structure, and become sensitive in entirely different ways. And we are not just talking about being a little wet and aroused, but that there was already a thorough warm-up, sex with penetration, or even having an orgasm has already occurred. And to find her sunken Atlantis, you should have aroused her for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Making her nicely wet, if possible. Or you can use a lot of lubricant, perhaps even a warming lubricant, to stimulate blood circulation nicely. And of course, you should have short, well-groomed fingernails. Some women describe the first touch of the G-spot as a queasy, uncomfortable feeling before the pleasure emerges. It is practically a completely different feeling, which can be so distinct compared to her usual sexual desire, and it may also require some getting used to. Yes, where is this G-spot, this G area? Generally, it is said that the G area is located about 3 to 5 centimeters inside the vaginal entrance. So that means practically on the inner vaginal wall on the upper side of the vagina towards the navel. But there are also women for whom the G-zone is located quite high up. However, there are also women for whom the G-zone is slightly shifted to the left or to the right. However, there are also women for whom the G-zone is located on the left or right side, and there is a very small percentage where the G-zone is located at the bottom. However, there are also women for whom this G-zone shifts. This means that it is not in the same place today as it will be tomorrow. So how do you find her G area, her G zone? They can of course be at different depths. So, on one hand, it can be ankle deep, it can be 2 ankles deep, or it can be 3 ankles deep. However, the area can also be located so far inside that you cannot reach it with your finger. And to find it, you should consider a specific search pattern that can help you in your search. And if you come up with a pattern to follow, you can thoroughly explore the walls of the vagina, and thus ensure that you haven't missed any spot. You can search with your fingertips or use a sex toy that has a curved shape, as this works particularly well and stimulates areas where the touch can trigger additional or unusual sensations in your partner. And once you have found these points, simply pay more attention to them and remember to only search when your partner is already very aroused. So how do you proceed? You can start either at the very top by inserting a finger or your penis all the way in and stroking along the sides outward, inward, and feeling the sides of the vagina. You can move easily left and right, thus freely exploring the entire and complete surface inside. Of course, you can also start at the entrance of the vagina. This means you draw light circles around the walls of the vagina, either with 1 or 2 fingers, and then simply observe where your partner feels aroused, where she is excited, what feels different. And then you go deeper into her from front to back. If you have found a spot that excites your partner, a new area to explore, and it also means that you should remember this spot. And you really need to come up with some kind of system, like saying there is a finger segment on the left side of the spot that felt a bit different, a bit rougher. And then hopefully you will find it again next time, as long as it's not a wandering surface. So, how do you stimulate these areas? There are also various techniques for this. You can start gently and gradually increase the pressure. Then, of course, it's important to experiment and communicate with your partner. In the mentioned area of the vagina, you can, for example, apply rhythmic pressure or tapping, move back and forth, massage in a circular motion, or vary the speed and pressure, making it faster, slower, firmer, or softer. And many also enjoy simultaneously stimulating the clitoris themselves or with their tongue or a toy. The right spot is the one that is reported back to you by your partner as particularly arousing, and it may take some time before this spot is found. You might feel a pressure sensation, or she might feel a pressure sensation, or you might also notice how this area responds. There are techniques that often work quite well for this. For example, when you make the so-called come here motion in the vagina with your index and middle fingers, or perform the windshield wiper motion using 2 fingers in the G zone moving from left to right in a semicircle, massaging back and forth, or even making the victory sign with the middle and index fingers while applying pressure to the zone and repeatedly bringing them together. That works as well. And for many women, a specific sequence has proven effective in achieving G-spot pleasure. First, plenty of sex, meaning a lot of penetration, to awaken the G-zone. And second, gentle, soft touching of the G-zone. And they are usually longer than you think. And when the good feeling is clear, you can increase the pressure or the pace, or both, at any time. So start by gently massaging the area, then apply pressure over a larger area, for example, with the tips of the fingers, a compressed finger, the penis head, or a thicker sex toy, and later massage the tissue under the skin with a lot of pressure. Pressure on a small area with a fingertip or a narrower sex toy such as... Other techniques would also include pressure from above. This means the so-called clitoral sandwich toy for women whose G-zone is located at the vaginal ceiling. So when you have both fingers inside her and place your hand on the pubic bone from above, your hand effectively presses down on the fingers and the area. There is another way. By tilting the pelvis and moving your penis 1 finger or 6 inches upward into the upper vaginal wall, while you tilt the pelvis as mentioned. And you can reach a deeper area more effectively when your partner is lying on her back, with her knees drawn to her chest, and you penetrate her from above. This way, you can wonderfully stimulate the upper area. Then there are, of course, those that can be grasped like that. This area, you can literally handle it easily, and fingers, a penis, or 6 inches can pull on it. And this naturally and creates a pressure without it feeling like someone is poking around inside the woman. But if the grip is firm and stable enough, you will also notice this in the movement of her hips and the sense of rhythm. Another technique is the moonwalk move. 2 fingers alternate while rubbing the area, creating the sensation of a single continuous movement similar to moonwalking. And while one fingertip finishes the stroking motion, the other one starts again. If you can't find the walking area, please don't worry, as this is not a reason to feel strange. If you can't locate this walking zone, some women simply do not have a specific, clearly defined spot, and that is okay and completely normal. So don't give up too early, take your time, because there can literally be pleasure zones everywhere in the vagina. Surface, disappear, return. So always remember, it takes a lot of stimulation before desire shows itself. You need a lot of patience. You both need a lot of patience. Often, a walking wound is present one day and gone the next. Therefore, just try it on different days as well. Or try it through certain positions, for example, doggy style. Since the woman is kneeling on her knees and using her hands for support, the man can penetrate deeply from behind. This is, of course, beneficial for women who have a high G-spot. And as you know, there are more sexual positions than there are letters in the alphabet, and I am sure you will find the right position to stimulate the discovered area. And if not, so what? Just enjoy it as it is. Don't put pressure on yourselves. And when you consider that 3 out of 4 women who experience stimulation of the G-spot as pleasurable have discovered this area together with their partner, and it can indeed become a passion killer if you, as a man, are now completely goal-oriented and feel that you must only be the G-spot explorer and orgasm generator. So, dear men, no stress, no pressure. For while some achieve orgasm through the stimulation of this area of the G-spot, others do not, and it can be a wonderful accompanying feeling, but it can also be beautiful without it. Don't think you're doing anything wrong if you can't bring your partner to orgasm. Enjoy the togetherness, the experimentation, and the exploration of new territory. In this sense, have good pleasure and see you in the next video.